very closely. In the meantime, I want to go to someone who has obviously a vested interest in all of this. Alexei Goncharenko is the Ukrainian member of parliament and was very kind enough to join us. Very good to have you, sir. It was interesting because we were talking to General Jack Keane here, wonders if the Russians might have stumbled in a couple of key points in this multi-pronged attack, and that maybe some of the Ukrainian opposition is proving more potent than thought. What can you tell us, sir?
Hello, thank you very much for your support, and I can tell you that really the plan of Putin of blitzkrieg of Ukraine, the quick attack and quick devastation and capitulation of Ukraine, it failed. We already can say this. Certainly the war is very tough. Certainly Russians are moving in some directions, especially really from the south, from Crimea, but there is no blitzkrieg. The state is not decapitated. There is no panic in the cities. There is no panic between the people. I am in Kiev. The authorities are in Kiev. Parliament is working. So that is our answer. And the main thing that our army is fighting. And also thousands of people are receiving weapons now to fight for their own houses, homes, especially in the capital, in Kiev, because we see that Kiev is a primary aim of Putin.
Do you know, Alexei, whether President Zelensky is still in the country, safe in the country, and that other parliament members such as yourself are as well?
Yes, we voted this morning, 300 votes, constitutional majority for martial law on the whole territory of Ukraine. And President is in Kiev, not just in the country, but in Kiev, in the capital. And we are here, and we are ready to fight. And I am not professional soldier, but I also received this. And I'm also ready to fight.
You know, Russian soldiers would probably call you a target. How do you feel about that?
I have no doubts in this.
So when you hear of their advance in other areas, not so yet where you are, but close, does that concern you? What's your plan?
My plan is to fight for my country. That's a big concern for the whole country. And my risks are much lower than the risk of our men and women who are fighting now against Russian occupants. We know that they have lists of those who should be killed, who should be tortured. And I know that I have my place in this list, but that's my country. I don't have any other. I was born here, and I'm ready to fight for it. And I'm sure that Putin will lose. I don't know how much time will it take, but he will lose. But definitely we need the support of the West, because we are not fighting just for ourselves. We are fighting for the whole world and for the whole civilized world. And I think that it's very important for free world to show its strength, not to show like after, Afghanistan, the weakness of free world, but the strength of free world. And if Putin and other dictators will see that the free world is weak, then Ukraine will be just a beginning. Then there will be much more, many more crises in Europe and in Asia and in Taiwan and wherever you can call. So I think that's a crucial moment for the free world in general to support Ukraine, to keep our existence.
You know, Alexei, you're an incredibly brave man. I do want to get your reaction to what Vladimir Putin had said to make this all go away. I'm paraphrasing here, sir, but that if Ukraine gave up on its pro-Western, alliance and affinity for the West, and just dispense with this notion of ever joining NATO, all this would stop. All of it would stop. What do you say to that?
No, you mean that Putin is saying that if we will not join NATO?
Right.
Just don't believe Putin. Today he wants us not to be part of NATO, but when he started war against Ukraine in 2014, we were not the member of NATO, and we didn't have aspirations to NATO from majority of people. So he started the war from neutral country, absolutely neutral. So that's Putin who made us wanting to go to NATO. So that's not about NATO. It's about that Putin wants to rebuild Soviet empire, the empire of evil, like President Reagan told. And he wants Ukraine, he wants Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Baltic countries. He wants Poland. He wants the wall in Berlin. I assume you. So the question is, where will he be stopped? That's the question, and not the question where he will stop voluntarily. He will never stop voluntarily.
So let's say you don't believe it when he says that, be loyal to Russia, give up your pro-Western views, just drop the talk of eventually trying to join NATO. Those seem to be some of the broad conditions he laid out to stop doing what he's doing. What do you think of that?
Don't believe him. We don't believe him. We know him, and you don't believe him. That's not about NATO aspirations of Ukraine. Once again,
so one way or the other, you think he wants to take over your country. You have no doubt about that. All of these are excuses on his part. He doesn't mean
absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. He just wants to take our country and not only ours.
So you talked about Poland, you talked about some of the former, Soviet breakaway countries, maybe by extension, that could be Lithuania, some others. So you're convinced no matter what happens in Ukraine, that it doesn't end in Ukraine?
Absolutely. That will end in Ukraine only if Putin will lose here. If he will be stopped, either by sanctions or by Ukrainian army and people, all together, only after this everything will finish. Because if he will succeed in Ukraine, he will go further, like he did after Georgia in 2008, like he did after first part in Ukraine when he took Crimea in 2014. He is not going to stop himself.
I know it's very hard from where you are to get all the news and the information you need, Alexei, but some of the sanctions that President Biden outlined, tough financial sanctions, some say don't go far enough. What you know of them, what do you think?
I was listening to President Biden. First of all, we are thankful for all sanctions, but if we want to really to stop Putin, we need some really tough sanctions. And I can tell you two tough sanctions which can be so painful for Putin that he will stop. First is kick off from SWIFT, from financial system, world financial transaction system. And second is embargo and ban on Russian oil and gas. Because each barrel of Russian oil, each cubic meter of Russian gas now is full of Ukrainian blood, is bloody oil, bloody gas, and it should be banned. These two things will stop Putin, because oil and gas make 2/3 of Russian exports and 50% of state budget revenues. So he could not afford
they didn't do that.
Embargo.
The president didn't do those two things, nor did the other.
I know this. That's why
they didn't do those two things. So you think that this doesn't go far enough, and Putin is emboldened to keep doing what he's doing?
We've heard that some European countries were against of this, but in any case, I hope that the leadership of the United States can move it forward, and we will see really tough sanctions like those two, like I told you.
All right. Alexei, thank you very, very much. Alexei Goncharenko, the Ukrainian member of parliament. Please be safe, and your family.